We are here. We are in. Oh man, what is going on? I thought I had that set up for you guys. All right. Well, anywho, we're live. We are talking on Friday. It's not going to be a long one because this one, he did squeeze in between a couple patients, and I definitely wanted to get it out in the open. We had a conversation yesterday. I think that was really fun. We see students here all the time, and we get into details as student PTs come through here about like what should you be thinking, how should you be structuring plans of care, interactions. And we think of all parts of this spectrum. We want the whole experience to be good. So when we talk about finding the edges. I want to describe this in two basic ways. We're going to describe it in the case of the person who has, like, it's me and you. It's I want to feel good. I want to have a little less pain. I want to look good naked. Call that LGN here. I want to not have a lot of pain if I'm going to, go out and go walk around the block. I want to be able to do that without any issue. I want to be able to go jump and run and kick and feel good. Then you have the person who is the leader athlete, the person who, their movement is their money. It's their life. Both cases will only ever make adjustments and make adaptation if they spend time on the edges of their ability. And so that's a big important thing we talk about here all the time. We say, for let's say that person who's a lower functioning or just normal functioning person, let's say we're working on your balance. Let's say we're working on somebody who's really, really limited. The less time we spend at the edge of our balance ability, the further from the edge of that ability we will have ability. Is that a redundant way to say that? If we want to improve our balance, how about this? Get to the edge of your balance and see how long you can stay there. Once you can do that, push that edge is now being pushed because you have gained some ability. And so now push that edge further. The edge is uncomfortable. Being on the edge, being at the edge of your balance in the case of this is very uncomfortable, especially if you're somebody who struggles with balance or maybe who's fallen before. The other side of the spectrum is, your high-level athlete, your 7-footers, your 300-pounders, the guys who are jumping, running, throwing, kicking, the girls who are, explosive, getting them over the net. So, that edge is trying to move the pendulum of performance as far over as it can get. But frankly, we've talked about this in other chats where the closer to that edge you get, if you're not prepared, if your movement economy isn't exactly where you need it to be, well, the closer you're pushing yourself towards a failure of some kind, and those can mount. We've had movement econ talk, probably have more of those as we go. But being on the edges, playing on the edges. Another term that we'll use, which is very similar to that, is sort of enjoying the slop. Exercise, can be super, super prescriptive. We could say, okay, I only want you to do X, Y, or Z this many times. The reasons may be because of healing process. The reasons may be because of your ability, whatever that is. If we are really prescriptive, well, the gain that person can make is going to be generalizable basically to that level or those movements and that volume. And if we don't make any change to that, that's how good they're going to get. That just makes a lot of sense. But if we give somebody more freedom to move around, when we structure movement, we'll have, of course, times where we have to do very strict movements. But then we have times where we can kind of play around. We have something, I don't know, I make up a lot of silly exercise names. I'm sure they've been named before. Something called a meathead row. That's perfectly appropriate. You can imagine someone just yanking the weight as violently as possible, where they're rotating their whole body and they're looking at their arm all, vain, right? That's what you think's happening. But no, that person may be doing a meathead row. And a meathead row is a big full body rotation where you're supporting yourself on a bench and you're just opening up big. So the idea of a meathead row is to work on the slop. Be in control of the edges of that protraction of your shoulder or the retraction of your shoulder and rotation, because that's how your body's going to get used day to day in space. No one's ever going to have to open the refrigerator like this. Perfect technique for their shoulders retracted. That's ridiculous. Yeah, man. So Jeff's got a good one. I love that he joins us. Is because it's fun to work with Jeff. If you don't know, you check out the client profile on Jeff Sacknall. Actually, it gets put back out today, bud. So you'll see another shot of that on the interwebs. And actually, because Jeff has some interesting handicaps, disabilities. I don't like saying handicap. He has some interesting challenges. we have to alter some our equipment. I mean, we've had to change our equipment style. We had to play with our own edges of our ability. So that's one of the fun things too. When we see people of varying levels, varying age, varying position on the spectrum between pain and performance, it lets us just get real creative. I always use stuff from my high level athletes with my fall risk patients. Always. It's just on a different output level. That's all. The movements we do and the edges we've got to play with to get better at this stuff aren't very different. Humans are generally the same thing. All of our joints are designed to move and take oppression. We're a moving, healing thing. It's a really kind of fun process to watch, and especially for someone like myself who enjoys improving that process and making that process faster for people who are frustrated with it. So um, get to the edges, play there. If you've never thought about how to incorporate some extra motion in your very sterile, stiff exercise regimen, that's fine. There's lots of places out there you can look. And frankly, if you just watch people in space kind of move around, you gain your own movement library, your own knowledge of how things look when they look good and how things look when maybe that person's getting tired and muscling it instead of looking like a purposeful edge motion, right? So go play on the edges, go explore your ability, because the edges are where you get better, not where you're sitting. Have a great day. Bye.